Perfect. Perfect. Welcome to Dirty Fanatics United.
Fans, Falcon Nation, welcome to Dirty Fanatics United. We are bringing you your Atlanta Falcon content recap of preseason game number 1. As always, I'm your host, Chase. If you're just tuning into the show, hit that like button, leave a subscribe, and comment if you're watching afterwards. We love to talk Falcon football with the fans in the chat. As always, I'm followed by my co-host, Philip, and the man, a.k.a. Cody Keeler, down at the bottom of your screen, man. Shout out to my co-host, Philip. Cody, what's been going on, man?
It's been a good little day, we both have a new cousin today. It's been a blessed little weekend. Got to watch some Falcon football Friday night, just to see what's going on. I'm pleased with a good bit of players, but some heartbreaking things as well. We'll get to that. But all in all, it's been a blessed little weekend. Can't complain. God always does what he does, baby.
Absolutely, Philip. Glad to have you on tonight on the Pop-Up Show Sunday, coming at you live. Episode 83 in the books, coming at you. Cody Keeler, what's been going on, man? Been a minute since we've been able to talk Falcon football together. Obviously, Falcons just played, so I'm sure you got a lot of Falcon to talk about, baby. Cody, what's going on, man?
Yeah, man, it's just been busy. I say, wife had her side of the family reunion, so we've been running around and just working, man. I want to say, just like always. So it's good to take a break and sit down and talk about Falcon football.
Yes,
finally here, boys. Finally
Absolutely,
here,
man. Football is here, baby. Excuse me while I go through and hit the X on every one of these notifications popping up on my laptop. A little bit of technical difficulties going on, man. Falcon fans, we want to bring you coverage of last Friday's football game. But before we do so, I got somebody pretty special, man. And I mean as in special guest. We're bringing a diehard Falcon fan in here. His name's Robert Stevens. So without further ado, Mr. Robert, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, gentlemen? Thank you for having me tonight. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely, Robert. It's always fun to have Falcon fans here on the podcast, Falcon fans that are diehards as you yourself. Robert, we'll start with you, man. This preseason game is in wraps. You've seen what Michael Penix Jr. has brought to the table. You've seen what the depth that receiver has brought. Not many sacks Friday night. You've seen the safeties.
A lot of pressure.
For instance, one Philip had talked about a pretty good bit. I believe his name was Williams that you talked about, Philip. So, Mr. Robert, give me your recap of Friday night in Miami.
Well, on a positive note, I was really impressed with Michael Penix. His pocket presence is great. He looks like he's adapted to the speed of the pro game. Mm-hmm. He's got to bring the ball down a little bit. And I'm sure you guys remember Matt Ryan, his rookie year of 2008, when he would miss high. Yep. That can be corrected, though. The future looks bright. Another thing is they've got to do a better job of holding onto the football. Way too many fumbles. That can be corrected as well. I think that Raheem and the coaching staff's really going to get to work this week and get that cleared up.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Robert brings some pretty magnificent points here when it comes to the podcast. Something to build off of. Philip, you heard his comparison to Michael Penix Jr. and Matt Ryan, man. Us all four, I'm pretty sure Robert himself, a diehard Matt Ryan fan. So to hear somebody mention, back when Matt Ryan was a rookie, guess what? This guy was missing high passes as well. This can't fix. Philip, what did you see Friday night, your recap of Friday night preseason game? Sorry, I got some cam issues going on.
No, we didn't have the sacks that we wanted, but it seemed like the amount of pressure that was always being put was consistent, and I like that. Whereas last year it was inconsistent some games, and some games it was there spot on. Last Friday, it seemed like almost every down we were back there, but just couldn't make the full sack. But I'm still impressed by the amount of pressure we, gave them the entire time.
Absolutely.
kind of excited, the same as as in Penix. He looked comfortable. He looked like he didn't panic as well, so that was a great thing.
Yep.
He just, all in all, he just looked comfortable to me, and he was just making some smart throws, other than a couple. But like we said, it can be fixed, and I'm hyped to see what he does, in the near future.
Yeah, man, I would say it was definitely week 1 preseason football. Nothing too stellar, but it was good to see Penix. It seems like he's kind of adjusted from the college game into the pro. He's definitely got some things to work on, but this is year 1, so of course he's going to have things that he's got to work on. Wasn't too thrilled with the run defense, but again, how many number ones were really out there. It was good to see Coach Raw. There was a situation in the game where he challenges something, and so they're kind of figuring things out even as a coaching staff too. So it's good to see that they're taking preseason to really kind of adjust. But man, I tell you what, watching the kickoff, man, was funky. That took a little bit to get used to. The first time I started watching and they lined up like that, and I was like, who the hell is onside kicking in a preseason? And I was like, oh yeah, new rules, man. I was just like, so I mean, like I said, it was preseason week 1, man, and it looked like preseason week 1. So nothing too stellar, but nothing too concerning other than the obvious topics that I'm sure that we're going to cover later. But I mean, it was pretty good game. To see it. So
let's just say we looked better than the Panthers did.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, this definitely looked better than anything the last 3 years,
and the Saints as well.
Philip's steady with the shots at the Panthers. I think when we go to a Panther game this year, we're going to have to hide Philip because Falcon fans already know Philip loves talking trash about the Panthers. We'll start with the Falcons release. Absolutely. Any NFC South rival, give them hell. We'll start with some of the releases that the Atlanta Falcons have already made after the first preseason game here. Obviously, guys, and if you disagree, let me know. But I'm going to give you my honest opinion about one of these cuts, and then obviously we'll go around the table and talk about it. But the Falcons cut quarterback John Paddock. No, my bad. We signed John Paddock, and we cut quarterback Nathan Rook. All right, however you say it. I want to speak about that particularly.
Let's go ahead.
This guy came into a locker room and didn't really know these players. He's been here probably, I think, at the max 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, almost a month.
2-3 weeks. Yeah, maybe a month. Made some decent throws. Obviously, the chemistry wasn't there. There was a couple passes that were off, but there were a lot of passes that this guy Nathan here put in the breadbasket in the end zone, and these secondary receivers, these lower depth charted receivers, did not happen to catch it. And I'm taking a shot at number 11. I forget what his name was, but number 11 could have had at least 2 touchdowns Friday night. Philip, Cody, your thought, and obviously Mr. Robert, your thoughts about the Falcons releasing Nathan Root, your 4th-string quarterback, not going to make an impact when it comes to this team. I pray we don't make it past the 2nd-string quarterback. But Philip, Cody, Robert, y'all's thoughts on the release of Nathan Root here?
I don't know. I don't know what they got planned, but it just, when I first seen it, I'm going to be honest, my first reaction was I didn't understand. To me, he had a better performance than what Taylor Heineke did, that went 4-11 and had 11 yards the entire game. The whole quarter that he was in had fumbles as well. But it just didn't also make sense to me why we did that after, I'm pretty sure we got him after we released John Paddock at first.
Yep.
And then to go get Nathan,
Yep.
And now we're releasing Nathan just to go back and get John Paddock.
Yep.
I don't know what they got in the store, but maybe they know what they got planned out, but it just didn't make sense to me at first.
But Philip, when you talk about Taylor Heineke, we have to remember he did take a team-friendly deal. I mean, I don't know if that keeps you a spot on the roster, but he did take a team-friendly deal. You're probably not going to get much of a trade offer anymore out of Taylor Heineke. 4 passes for 11 yards. Cody, your thoughts of Nathan Root here has been released from the Atlanta Falcons, as Philip stated. You released John Paddock, you went and got Nathan, then you released Nathan, and you're back with John Paddock. Cody, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a little confusing, but you know, Terry, you know, I think Terry and Coach Raw know what they're doing. And if you guys watch that video that I sent you of Young Wei Koo throwing that football, man, if worse comes to worse, we joked about hoping, you know, never have to see our kicker throw a football. But after seeing that video, I'm a little more comfortable with it. But I don't think that we're going to be in a situation where, I mean, even if, you know, God forbid Kirk goes down, I think Penix will, you know, step up. So I'm one of those people that's like, do I really care who the third string quarterback is? Not really. So I just think there's, you know, Kirk. I think Kirk's going to stay healthy. So it's kind of one of those things. It's kind of an thing for me. It's like, you know, I guess not really surprised, you know, at what they're doing. So they've got a plan. So
yeah,
I'm just trusting in Terry and seeing what they got.
Mr. Robert, round table question here. You've heard Philip and Cody on their thoughts, mine as well. Robert, your thoughts on releasing Nathan Rook here, your third or fourth string quarterback?
Fourth.
Well, Paddock, they gave him high praise earlier in training camp, and I figured that he would probably be, you know, at the very worst fourth string.
Right.
Rourke made some good throws Friday night. I'm a little bit surprised by this as well. And I agree with you guys. I hope we don't go past Cousins and Penix on the depth chart.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not trying to bash anybody on the roster, but if Heineke gets back out there and he's starting to we're in trouble.
Yes, I agree with you, Robert. I believe all three of us here at the panel believe and trust what you're saying there, Mr. Robert. Philip, some breaking news, man, you brought to the podcast right before the podcast started, man. Nothing I wanted to hear. I'll let you take this subject in the matter, Philip.
Speaking on injuries, we do have DeMarco Helms, as we've seen, get carted off, but relations to that injury has not been said yet. But it's just me speculating. I feel like it's just a broken ankle. It could be back week 5 or week 6. But this is the confirmed one. Braylon Trice is out for the season. From what I've seen, the Twitter world, X, whatever you want to call it, he is out for the season with ACL.
Tore ACL as a rookie. You draft this guy in the 3rd round. Reason being is because he had the chemistry with your DC, your new DC in the NFL. Braylon Trice was a 3rd-round pick, but was getting reps with the first and second team in training camp. Braylon Trice was making a name, number 48. Remember the number because next year I promise he's coming back with vengeance. Philip, Cody, Mr. Robert, y'all's thoughts on Braylon Trice, man, the young athlete that was coming – knowing Jimmy Lake's scheme, what he ran, has the chemistry there. As we all know, chemistry is a big part when it comes to the NFL. Philip, Cody, Robert, y'all's thoughts on Braylon Trice, man, out for the season.
Man, just like we stated Friday, man, it's just, being close to me personally, being close in age with these guys, that's your dream, you know what I mean?
Yep.
That they just want to go out there and do what they have been wanting since childhood, man. So it just sucks to see him go down. I do wish him well, and I hope he gets back fast.
Absolutely.
Speak with your teammates, such as Kyle Pitts. He done the same thing. Just he done the same thing. Just talk to him. So you don't get discouraged. But I hope he keeps high hopes in it, man. So, but I pray He gets back healthy, and ready to go next season.
Cody, you hear the breaking news, man. It's not something any of us here wanted to hear. Braylon Trice out for the season. ACL is officially torn. Cody, your thoughts, Braylon Trice?
Yeah, no, man, it absolutely sucks. And, I feel for the young man. I can't imagine, getting to the NFL, having your name called, and before you take a meaningful snap, you're already out. The only, so I definitely hope he comes back, bounces back, comes in year 2, and really, shows us what he was, because I had a feeling he was going to be, pretty special to this team. The only good news that really I guess really the only good news, and this is just trying to find some kind of silver lining, is at least our linebacker depth is good. Caden Ellis, Anderson, those guys. So I guess it definitely beats, losing somebody in the secondary where we're not as deep. It still sucks, though. Like I said, I'm just trying to find some kind of silver lining, to
Absolutely.
be like, well, it is what it is. It really sucks. It really does, especially for him. But I think we'll be okay. He'll get strong. We've got a great training staff. We've got, I'm pretty sure that's one of the reasons Kirk Cousins was okay coming here was, we've got one of the better, the Emory facility is fantastic. The team doctors and stuff, are supposed to be, top notch here in Atlanta. So, I'm looking forward to him coming back year 2, but again, as much as it sucks, we've got depth at the linebacker position. So hopefully, it's not going to make too much of an impact.
Absolutely. Robert, you watch the Falcons and keep up with the Falcons just as much as any of us here on the podcast do. Braylon Trice, that 3rd-round draft pick that you went out and got, season-ending injury with an ACL tear. Robert, your thoughts and obviously how are we feeling about this linebacker core? Your thoughts on Braylon Trice?
He was actually the draft pick I was most excited about. I mean, honestly thought he was going to make a immediate impact.
Mm-hmm.
And, knee injuries are part of the game. Just hope the kid can bounce back. I don't know if you guys remember back in '95, the Cincinnati Bengals drafted Kajana Carter 1st overall. And like his 3rd carry in the preseason, ACL was gone.
Yep.
And he was never the same after that. And I just hope that the kid can, keep his head on straight. If he's watching, us fans are in your corner, kid. Get well soon. Hit the ground running next year.
Yes, sir. Another Falcon player that we did not want to see. I was very big on him, Philip Cody. We talked about him a lot this offseason. In fact, sometimes we even forgot to say the kid's name because of how many players we acquired this offseason. DeMarco Hellams, a dog from Alabama, the leading tackler for Alabama, his rookie season, or his season before his rookie season here with the Atlanta Falcons, starting 4 games out of your 16 games you have here in the season. Guys, DeMarco Hellams has been placed on today he posted on his Instagram. I want to share screen this because it just shows the type of player that DeMarco Hellams is. It says Jeremiah 29:11. This ain't nothing. Blessings. Let's get it, man. DeMarco Hellams, as Robert said, man, if you happen to be watching this, brother, we are rooting for you, dog. We want you to get back. We want you to be thriving. If it's year 2 or year 3, whatever it may be, but get healthy, man, because we want you back out on that field. Philip, Cody, Robert, y'all saw DeMarco Hellams going down early in the preseason game, man, before Braylon Trice even went down.
Same thing with him, man. Like, it sucks. It kind of sucks to see, man. But I do believe he'll be back. I truly believe he'll be back. By that message, that gave me a little bit more hope, honestly, about saying this ain't nothing. You know what I mean? That just shows that he's got his mind in the right spot. And he's willing to get back. You know what I mean? And I feel like he could be back this season, which is good.
Yeah, definitely would love to have a Hellams in the wrong stretch. Richie, get it right, baby, because we're counting on you. Cody, your thoughts about DeMarco Hellams, man, going down early in the preseason game, obviously leaving out on a stretcher with the air boot on, could not put pressure on the foot. Cody, your thoughts?
Yeah, this really sucks too because, man, I thought him and Clark Phillips were going to really push, each other this all year, not just in training camp for that spot, but all year, just, fight, keeping that healthy competitiveness, between, is it going to be Clark Phillips? Is it going to be Helms? Is it, and just going back and forth. And unfortunately, again, we lose a guy to injury before we start taking meaningful snaps. I mean, it's awful, but I agree with Philip. It's good to see. And it's something that Mike Johnson touched on when he was talking about when he went, when he got hurt, is the headspace that you're in. And it seems like he's already in a good headspace, which is a great thing to see. So, I hope he gets back. I'm sure he'll get back and he'll be healthy and he'll be fine to go, next year. But again, as a Falcon fan, it sucks because I was really looking forward to him and Clark Phillips and Richie, push each other, to really get there, man. This is one thing, like, I understand that you got to do preseason and all this stuff, but this is one of the reasons I hate preseason is because of stuff like this. It sucks to see young guys that are coming in and you're excited about, and then you play a game that's not for records, not for the division, not for, again, as a former football player, I understand why we have preseason. But at the same time, it just really sucks to see these guys go down in games, or practices that aren't, that aren't for the season. I mean, it's getting ready for it, but you know what I mean? So I think he'll get back. I think his headspace is probably
it kind of
good,
shocked me, Cody. You bring a good point. It kind of shocked me that Lorenzo Carter, for one, was on the playing field. It shocked me that even Buddy we're talking about was on the field. I mean, why is DeMarco Hellams and why is Lorenzo Carter on the football field in week 1 preseason game? I didn't understand that. Maybe Raheem hasn't seen enough out of Lorenzo in training camp. Maybe he's pushing, the DB from Alabama, the one that I was really looking forward to in his second year.
Right.
Maybe he is pushing to see more out of him. I don't really know why they were on the field. Robert, you obviously have seen the injuries. You've seen what's going on with DeMarco Hellams, Braylon Trice. Your thoughts on these players, man? First off, DeMarco Hellams, your thoughts on that. And then what is the deal with vets playing preseason game week 1?
Well, Hellams, being a late round draft pick last year, he was like a diamond in the rough. I mean, this kid came in and gave maximum effort. And I was very impressed with him. I was looking forward to seeing what he could bring to the table this year, maybe crack the starting lineup. As far as the injury bug goes, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but probably since 2016, injuries have plagued us.
Yes, tremendous.
When we had Jeff Fish as our strength and conditioning coach, it just seemed like, we were safe from the injury bug once he left. And it's probably just me, being paranoid and thinking stuff, but it seems like once he left, the injury bug has really plagued us.
Yes, I agree with you, Robert, because matter of fact, I was just speaking with Philip and Cody in our group chat about how it's every year. It's just our luck every year that one player that we think is going to be a dynamic piece. For instance, my one player from last year, Matt Collins. I had high hopes for Matt Collins. Did pretty well week 1 through week 3, and then he had that lingering ankle injury all year long. So, I mean, it's just one of the things that hit. But I agree with you. Since 2016, after that, it's just from downhill from there on with injury bugs and et cetera. I mean, there was a year Matt Ryan got hurt after 2016. Matt Ryan doesn't get hurt. I don't know what was happening with that. But some more Falcon news for you guys today or yesterday. The Atlanta Falcons did sign Jakeem Grant. He's a receiver. He's a 2-time second-team All-Pro. Grant is coming off consecutive season-ending injuries. Another player. Okay, first you signed Rondell Moore. His injury percentage to get injured again this year was over 70%. Now you signed a guy that's coming off of 2 season-ending injuries, but he's been dynamic when he's on the field. More speed for Atlanta to replace an empty void in Rondell Moore. Philip, Cody, Robert, your thoughts on the Falcons grabbing another speedster and Jakeem Grant, also coming off of 2 consecutive season injuries. Philip, your thought?
This ain't no throw out there just what you would say. Hey, I just feel like that's just a guy to fill in, and just a wide receiver spot in camp and preseason, just to see maybe it could possibly turn out to be something. We don't know, but I just feel like at the moment it's just something to fill in while we have that empty slot right there that we needed to fill.
A cool stat for you about Grant: 9.4 yards after the catch back in 2021 on every catch. That's pretty nice.
That's impressive.
Philip, you may be speaking something into his instance. Maybe he can click here in this Zach Robinson scheme. Right. Cody, you hear the news. Rondell Moore obviously out for the season. You go and you fill that void with Jakeem Grant here. 2 All-Pro consecutive receiver. He's got talent. He's not as flashy as what Rondell Moore was, is what it says here in this article. But your thoughts of bringing in a 5th receiver in Jakeem Grant, a vet that's played in the league a couple years?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good thing. And, I think it's something that we've brought up on, the podcast multiple times is it seems like the recipe for this team is speed, and so, I mean, yeah, he may not be as dynamic as Rondell Moore, but I don't know much about the guy. I've never really heard about him, to be perfectly honest with you on that one. But, if he's got the speed, that matches with this team, great. We'll see what he can do. Again, the damn injury bug, man. Rondell Moore was one of those guys that I was looking forward to seeing, what could do. So let's see what this kid's got. Obviously the 9.5 yards after catch, for, 2 seasons straight, man. That's almost a first down every, almost first down every time. So, if he can continue that, he may not be a Mohamed Sanu sign. He may not be, too flashy or whatever, but I'm not really worried about flashy as long as you get your job done. And it sounds like this guy can do that. So let's see what he's got.
Absolutely. Robert, you bring in a Void. It's a subject DF was talking on for a while about the receiver depth after I said at our halftime report show after Casey Washington, it looked really rough. And I'm not trying to be a hater because I try to be positive about the Atlanta Falcons every time I speak on them. But to see the performance that these receivers put on after what Washington was out the game, and he played a good while, and he did as much as he could, I would think, as being that late of a round drafted pick. But Robert, your thoughts of the Falcons signing a vet coming off of 2 consecutive season-ending injuries?
Well, it'll definitely fill a void, and I think it'll be competition for the other guys that are trying to make the roster. And like Cody said, speed has been the theme. He's not a flashy kid, but when we brought Taylor Gabriel in 2016, nobody was really gung ho about that, and him and Matt had chemistry right off the bat. And if the kid can stay healthy, whoever the quarterback will be, whether it be Kirk, who I figure will probably be the starter, or Penix, it could be explosive.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. You speak on chemistry, and a guy that's caught chemistry kind of latish in camp, but was really, really catching some strides here with Kirk Cousins is my guy, Ray McCloud. We'll go around the table on Ray real quick before we head to the next subject. But Ray did not suit up Friday night, so tell me that Ray is fighting for a starting position here on this offense. Philip, you seen the mic'd up. You heard Kirk Cousins talk about, I like this Ray guy. He's got electricity. I like this guy. Philip, your thoughts of Kirk getting the chemistry with a slot receiver here for your Atlanta Falcons heading into hopefully the playoff snap season.
You said the chemistry?
Yeah.
It's great, honestly. It seems like we've seen it, that practice. And it just looked like a good little chemistry between him and Ray. Like, it's like they're on the same page. And if I'm not mistaken, Ray was another one that he recruited as well. I think that's what it was. He recruited Ray. So that is a good thing. That tells me there he's familiar with his game. He liked what he's seen out of him, what he does, what he's about, what he brings. And honestly, that's what starts off a good chemistry right there. You bring in guys that you're familiar with, that you like, so I'm excited what he's going to do this season. And I do feel like he's going to have that, that possibility of having that slot receiver. He was battling it out with Rondell Moore. But I feel
Ray
like now
come in and play like Taylor Gabriel did in 2016.
Yes.
That would be crazy, man.
He's got the speed. He's got hands, so it definitely can happen.
Absolutely. Cody, Robert, y'all's thoughts on Ray McCloud possibly being your slot receiver here over Cadell Hodge?
Yeah, man, it's always a good thing when you got a guy like Kirk Cousins saying, yeah, I like this guy. That obviously tells you, as good as Kirk is and as professional as Kirk is, when, game recognizes game, man. And so if Kirk Cousins is seeing something in this guy that he really likes and has obviously got some kind of connection with Ray, he was one of the other ones, when, we kind of found out, hey, Kirk was the one who brought him here. I was excited to see what him and Kirk how they'd mesh it, and it did, practice. We watched him, and it seemed like Kirk knew where he was going to be. Ray knew where he was going to put the ball, and they were pretty flashy, man. I would say it's going to be one of those things. I obviously think Drake London is going to be that number one, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Ray McCloud be Kirk Cousins' number 2 guy. Just the speed that he has and the chemistry that they've already got. I'm expecting big things out of Ray McCloud and Kirk Cousins this year, especially after practice. And I think it says a lot that, he didn't have, the helmet and shoulder pads on. And it means the coaches obviously like what they're seeing and they're going to try to protect him. So definitely excited to see what they've got week 1.
Robert, you've seen the preseason game. Cadell Hodge, a guy that's been a slot receiver for the Atlanta Falcons for quite a while. I'd say about 4 seasons now in a row. Cadell Hodge has been that 3rd-string receiver. Now you're seeing Cadell Hodge suit up Friday night, Ray McCloud on the sidelines. Robert, your thoughts of Ray McCloud building a chemistry with that vet, Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, I think he's more dynamic than Hodge. He's got the hands, he's got the speed. Or slot receiver, when you're over the middle, you're more likely to get hit, by the linebackers and the safeties coming up. But, Him and Kirk have already got something good going. If he can stay healthy, I honestly agree with Cody. I think he could be the number 2 option.
Yeah, I would love to see it. You see the competition with Darnell Mooney and Ray McLeod. That just makes each receiver better, man. So competition all around the board is what I root for in training camp, OTAs. I love to see the competition. A comment here from Ron Thomas, real quick. I didn't give DSGB Hall a shout out. Shout out to DSGB Hall. Said DFU, what it do? Shout out to DSGB Hall. My guy Ron Thomas in the chat says, since Braylon Trice is injured, do we think we'll sign a top DE in free agency? I don't. And I'll say why I don't. Because you're not going to get rid of Lorenzo Carter. You're not getting rid of D'Angelo Malone, another depth piece. You're not
still got Arnold
rid
and Bichetti.
Arnold and Bichetti. And then you
got
still
guys
have
like Brandon Dolores as well.
Brandon Dolores. A lot of more depth here than you've had the last 2 seasons at linebacker. We all know when Corey Anderson went down last year, we were all kind of iffy about how this defense was going to look. Still somehow made it a top 10 defense. So hopefully Jimmy Lake can keep this thing rolling with other players. J.D. Burntrad, another linebacker that I'm very, very, very happy about, a.k.a. Captain America. Didn't get that name for no reason. So I don't see us signing a DE. Maybe you see like a Yannick Nagoku, whatever his name is. That would be something crazy you could see happen. Philip, Cody, Robert, do you guys think we sign a DE, or we just roll with what we have in depth?
I think we roll out like in depth, man. We got plenty of depth, so especially at that position anyway. So, I don't think we go the free agent route.
Absolutely. Cody, Robert, y'all's thoughts?
No, I wouldn't. I would be kind of shocked if we signed a D or another linebacker. I mean, Caden Ellis, Landman, Anderson. We're deep in that middle part of the defense, and I think our front line's pretty deep too. Obviously Grady, you got Street, you got Amyamata, you got Ebiketie.
Did Eddie Goldman play Friday night?
He
played Friday night, didn't he? He's fighting for that first spot.
I think he was out there, but
he got pressure too.
Yeah, I would say you've got Eddie Goldman. Who congratulations on playing your first preseason game with the Falcons. It looks like you're sticking around. So, yeah, Eddie Goldman, thank you for coming. Third time's the charm, I guess. I don't think that we go out and sign anything on the line or in that linebacker. Really, if we're going to go and sign anything, it's probably going to be more towards the secondary. With the injury that we had, which is, taking already a, what do we call it?
Cody, are you spilling possibly a Justin Simmons to Atlanta?
Maybe. I would say there may be somebody coming. I would say, but as far as defensive end or, defensive line or linebacker, that's not going to happen.
Robert, your thoughts? Obviously, you heard all 3 of our thoughts. Your thoughts of the depth here that we finally have here on this defense. Do we sign somebody, or we just kind of roll with what we got?
I don't think we sign anybody. I think we should roll with what we got because, guys like Yannick that you mentioned, they're still on the free agent market for a reason.
Exactly.
Hopefully
the injury bug won't hurt us. He was in the same spot last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yannick was another guy that was on the vet list late headed into the season. Shout out to the Digsway, man. Like button smash. If you're watching DFU, man, hit that like button. Leave a subscribe. We're talking Falcon football, baby. Atlanta Falcons Fandemic in the chat says, DFU live? What's happening, fellas? Atlanta Falcons Fandemic, glad to have you here in the comment section, brother. Hit that like button. It was a pop-up show tonight. Had to get our guy Robert here on the podcast. So shout out to everybody in the comment section, man. Hit that like button. Falcon fans, I have another subject here for you tonight, and this is just kind of like off the dome here. So get ready for it. You've seen what you've seen preseason game week 1. Headed into the preseason game week 2, we kind of seen what we had week 1, but obviously week 1's game is not stellar. That's not what you're gonna base the rest of the preseason off. So heading into preseason week 2, what are our thoughts and expectations out of this team when we play I believe it's the Raiders that we play?
Yeah, Ravens.
Philip, your thoughts of our expectations, or what do you want to see, maybe players or maybe something you want to see happen? Your thoughts of week 2 preseason game.
You might see a little. I'm just going to tell you what you might see. I guess what you could say a little bit expecting as well, but you might see a little bit more of Michael Penix, just a little bit, not a whole lot. We done seen what they seem pleased what he's got going on. What he can do. How he's comfortable into the game and everything. But you're definitely going to see more of like Taylor Heineke. I feel like.
Oof.
Still,
Yes.
you trying to build
Please,
up that
no. Philip, please,
trade.
no, dude.
Hey, but you're gonna see more of like the third and fourth teams. I feel like, and some second team people.
Gotta
still
start
fight for a
making them
spot.
cuts.
Yeah,
Yep.
just seeing who's gonna do what, how you do certain things in this position. Certain scenarios, but you're gonna see a little bit more third and fourth teams mainly.
Absolutely.
Coming in.
Cody, any player in particular that you're looking forward to week 2 preseason game, or is there something that you expect to happen? Maybe a milestone for Michael Penix, anything you expect to happen, or just any player preseason game week 2?
Well, what I would like to see is see Penix get at least one quarter of work in. Definitely want to see him throw his first NFL, his first NFL touchdown.
Absolutely.
But really the one thing that I'm going to be looking at is that second, possibly second team defense to see if they can kind of button up that run game. They got torched on a few plays that I was not super thrilled about week 1, in the preseason. Again, I understand it's preseason and they're kind of, finally, game time situation and stuff like that. But I really want to see if they can button that up. But really what I agree with Philip here. I think we're going to see a lot more third and fourth string, to start cutting some of the fat on the, on the roster. Cause I think they have to have it down to, I can't remember what the number is after
I'll
week
have to
2.
look that up. I'll have to get the numbers as we progress because there is a certain number they have to be by each preseason game.
Right.
So obviously, the last
each week you have like certain amount of cuts.
I think it's like 10 a week or whatever it is. I know it's quite a bit, but so I'm interested to see mostly who's gonna step up and make it to that week 3 preseason game. But yeah, no, definitely want to see the second team defense, for a little while, see if they can button up some of that running because I don't think Derrick Henry's going to be out there, for Baltimore this week. But they've also got some running backs back there. You're definitely not going to see Lamar, so see if they can kind of button up that run defense there for the second team and see if we can't see what Penix can kind of fix, see if he's gotten the ball, is lowering the ball, see from there. So definitely those two things for sure.
Mr. Robert, any expectations for week 2 or any players you're wanting to see progress maybe from week 1?
I like to see some of the younger guys on defense, see them get more snaps. And, that's one of the cool things about preseason. These young kids are out there, they're busting their hump. They want to make that roster spot. Yep. Just to see what, we have to offer as far as our defensive depth, especially in the secondary. Expectations, this isn't going to be the Ravens' first string defense.
Right.
And, these guys are going to have to really clean up the fumble.
Yep.
That just irked the living daylights out of me this past Friday. I mean, you guys are professionals. Hold on to the ball.
Absolutely. You need to get back in some of them Drake London drills with the broom handle while they hit the ball out because
exactly.
The ball was on the turf Friday night. I would say my expectations and maybe players that I'm wanting to see, obviously Michael Penix Jr., Carlos Washington with his first completion was for Michael Penix. First pass, Philip caught it before we went live. Carlos Washington was going to be your first catch of the night.
Casey Washington.
I'm saying Carlos, my bad. Casey Washington. I want to see him for sure, and I would love to see Carlos Washington Jr. as well.
I'm ready. I want to see McClellan.
McClellan, the guy from Alabama, would love to see him as well too because he did pretty nice in Alabama. Obviously, Alabama is stacked when it comes to running back, as they are every year. But McClellan's another one I like to see on the defense side of the ball. I want to see some more Hamilton. I want to see some more
King.
Yeah, King. I want to see some more out of King. Whoever number 41 is, I think that may be King. But 41, strap up and get the coverage better, brother, because Friday night was pretty terrible for number 41. I need to get better with these names. But as I said, a lot of these players will be cut, and they won't even be part of the Falcons before it's all said and done. But some other players I want to see more out of. First of all, I want to rave about Zach Harrison. Friday night, Zach Harrison brought the pressure, closed up a couple plays, early loss,
calls
the interception because he was in the quarterback's face. Every caddy as well, I'll give him a shout out. He got some pressures, didn't get the sacks. I want to see the D-line come away with sacks. We talked about sacks before the show, or before the game, Philip, and we didn't come away with any. We had comments that the Falcons were going to get 6 sacks, 3 sacks, 2 sacks, and we came around with a goose egg. I got to see sacks. And as my guy Robert said here, you got to hold on to the football. I want to see better hand control, better ball placement by the third string quarterback. I want to see Penix continue to stride, continue to look comfortable in that pocket, continue to set up, wait, and be patient like he was Friday night. I got so used to watching Ritter and Heineke in the pocket get so nervous. And Heineke, again, Friday night, still nervous in the pocket, just slinging the ball, missing check downs. I seen one check down that led to a punt in Penix's debut. And obviously, it's his debut for a reason. He's a rookie. So these things can be fixed. But I want to see Penix just come out there and play good ball as he did Friday night. Atlanta Falcons Fandemic in the chat said, I love the pressure the front seven defense brought. Showed a lot of flash and energy. Absolutely. Yes, Atlanta Falcons Fandemic said, shout out to D'Angelo for being all over the field making tackles. Philip, we talked about it at halftime. We wanted to see more D'Angelo Malone. We didn't see it in the first quarter, second quarter. You got him in the third and fourth. D'Angelo Malone,
he did make some
happen when he touched
good
the field.
stops on
this is another
special
depth
teams
piece
at the
that we
beginning
forgot
of the
to name. We forgot to name this guy a while ago when we was talking about rolling with who we had. D'Angelo Malone, another defensive lineman, weak side linebacker, whatever you want to name him as. Because, I mean, we can go around the table about this real quick, but I think this package, you're going to see a lot of different faces as you roll through the game. You're not going to see your starting 11 every down. It's going to be a lot of rotation. Obviously, Eddie Goldman getting reps with the first team at the Benz, playing nose tackle to start the preseason game out with. So I'm excited to see what this defense brings with the Jimmy Lake scheme. Mactown Dirty in the chat said, what up, fellas? Mactown, appreciate you tuning in, brother. Hit that like button. We talking Falcon football. Falcon fans, our next subject here for tonight is, and it's kind of early. This is kind of early subject. It's kind of hard to even talk about. But the recipe for success this year for this team, just based off what you've seen preseason week 1, what is maybe some building points that we could have? You know, we kind of went through that already, but what is maybe some building points that this team could do going forward? And just overall, how does this first team offense and first team defense make sure they snap the playoff break? Philip, we'll start with you.
First things first, I'm going to say, and it might sound cliche, but it's honest. We got to stay healthy. We have to stay healthy. You know what I mean? A few other things is, like we said, we got to continue to hold on to the ball, not the fumble. But, you know, I'm not too worried about, the first team doing this, starters doing this. But it can happen. They're human. It can happen. You know what I mean? So we gotta clean up, certain things like that, get better at that, And
time clock, I don't mean to interrupt you, but time clock seemed to be an issue Friday night. There was a lot of snaps where we snapped the ball off at 1-2 seconds left on the clock. And I even heard the announcer speak on it. But did anybody else notice that, or was that just me being picky?
I didn't pay attention to it.
And that could be
me
getting my
But I have seen a lot of teams do that here lately, though. At the past 3 years, there's been teams that's just, I don't know, it's like they wait for it for some reason, and they do that. I don't know if that's the coaching telling them to do that or what, but, but another thing I would mention is, we have to get, I'm not going to necessarily say you have to get a sack every single game, but we got to get more than what we, show, certain things like that. You know what I mean? We got to get things ready, and we got just exactly like what this is. We have to stop the run.
Absolutely.
Cody, we can't let that happen.
Cody, you heard Philip's points, all solid points here, and then we'll get over to Mr. Robert. Your points of what this team could do better to make sure they snap that playoff break that we have, as Falcon fans, need. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to be back in the postseason, man. At least just get there. Just get there is going to be enough for me. Cody, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, what it's going to take is consistency, man. This team is going to have to be consistent. Any football team that's gonna be any good is going to be consistent. No silly drop balls, no fumbling in key situations. Making sure. So it's going to be consistency, and the other thing is going to be finish the play on the defense side of the ball. I love defensive pressure. It's a great thing. I think it has its part in the game, but that was one of our biggest issues last year that cost us at least 3 games. The Cardinal, I think it was the Cardinal game. You couldn't Cardinals, Vikings, and I can't remember the third one, but
I think it was at home against the Bucks.
Against the Bucks. Yeah. You have to get the quarterback on the ground. defensive pressure is great and it's important, and it does lead to interceptions and stuff like that, but you have to get the quarterback on the ground. So what it's going to, the success of this team is going to be based off of consistency with the offense and finishing the play on defense. Get the quarterback on the ground, catch the balls, hold on to the ball. And if we can do those two things, man, this team is not only going to make the playoffs, not only are we going to dominate the South, we'll make a deep push in the playoffs. There's no reason that if this team can just play consistently and finish, that this team doesn't get deep into the playoffs. Something that, as me as a Falcon fan, I've been a season ticket holder since 2018 or 19. I can't remember whatever year I got out here. So 18. I've yet to go to a playoff game inside Mercedes-Benz.
See, we gotta change that, Cody.
I'm itching for it, man.
Because I'm telling you, Cody, a playoff game experience is like no other. Philip, you've experienced it as well.
Seattle.
A playoff game is just, it's crazy, dude. I mean, it's crazy in the bins. Well, back then it was the Georgia Dome, man, and the Dome really put it on. Robert, you're hearing about the glory days, man. You're hearing about the Georgia Dome. What is it for this team to get cooking again, man? What does this team have to do, the recipe for success this year?
Well, I agree with Cody and Philip on the defensive side of the ball. Pass rush. Cannot stress it enough. We have ranked near the bottom or at the bottom of the league for too long now.
Yep.
Last time that we had a consistent pass rush was 2016. We went to the Super Bowl, and the guy that led the league in sacks was basically a bust for us, Vic Beasley.
Yes.
On the offensive side of the ball, balance. I know everybody's excited about having Kirk Cousins flinging the ball, but we've got a generational talent in Bijan Robinson in the backfield. We've got Tyler Algier. We've got to stay balanced. I'd like to see more of Tyler Algier down at the goal line. I mean, he is a power back. Another thing is the last couple of years under Arthur Smith, the offensive play calling has been way too predictable.
Right.
And I think Zach Robinson's going to fix that.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. All great points from my co-host here tonight. Philip, you got something you want to add?
Around the league news,
Talk to me.
Pittsburgh fans are calling for Arthur Smith's head after one game.
Hey, he's their problem now, not ours.
Good God. Good grief.
Yep.
No,
Oh,
man.
bless his heart.
Tell Arthur Smith to pass the Dutchie to the left, man. Philip, Cody, Robert, man, it has been a great 50-minute show here for DFU. Episode 83 is in the books, man. Y'all shout-outs for tonight. We'll start off with you, Cody, and then rotate to my guy, Robert, down at the bottom.
Yeah, shout out to everybody that was watching on a pop-up show on a Sunday night, man. I would say it's always good to get on and talk Falcon football and see people active in the comments and stuff like that. Keep liking and subscribing, guys. We're doing this, for y'all to bring you as much Falcon content as we can. Shout out to all of our, my co-hosts here. Let's say, Chase, Philip, Robert, thank you for coming on, man. Let's say it's been great, hearing your takes on, Falcon football. It's always good to get new opinions, new thoughts, a new voice every now and then on the show. You did an excellent job, I think.
Thank you.
Shout out to you, sir. I'll say, other than that, guys, let's say not much else to talk about, man. I'm just,
Absolutely.
God, football's here, man. Football's, people say that cocaine's a hell of a drug, but so is football, man. So I'm just glad that it's back. I don't care if it's preseason.
Well, I think you can, Cody. I think you can recover from cocaine, but I don't think you can recover.
No, man. Football's a lifestyle, man. It's not a hobby. It's a lifestyle for sure. And the birds have got me addicted, man. I can't get enough. I can't wait. Little odd time to start the second game, on a Saturday at 10 a.m. But hey, it'd give me something to do at work for sure.
DFU is gonna be with you, baby. Well, if you're at work, hey, tune in. Me and Philip and possibly Robert will be live Saturday watching, talking about football.
But yeah, guys, that's all I've got for shout outs. Always rise up.
Absolutely, Philip. Shout outs for tonight, brother.
Well, as always, to my Lord and Savior, boy, I'm just blessed to be here. It's always a movie for me, man. We're gonna get into this week. We're gonna keep up with the news, So shout out to the birds, man. Shout out to the players. Keep working hard. Shout out to everybody in the comments, man. Always a blessing to have y'all.
Yes, sir.
Always good to see what y'all bring to the, like asking questions or just showing love in general, man. So shout out to y'all. Shout out to you three. Shout out to you three. I've included myself, I guess. It's always a great time speaking, talking about the Falcons, man. Can't wait to get to this next game, which I said Saturday at 10 a.m. That's
Saturday at 10, baby.
That's new to me, but hey, I'm ready for
Hey,
it.
Phil, you got to wake up early, baby. Wake up at 9 o'clock.
always-
DFU's live. Breakfast with DFU, man.
It's going to be 7 o'clock, ready for the game, fully dressed. We're going to be
Yes,
ready.
sir.
So,
Robert,
yeah.
man, it's been a pleasure to have you on tonight, man. Obviously, you've been a diehard Falcon fan for a while, and you've supported the channel here for quite a while since me and Philip started this thing up. So, Robert, shout-outs for tonight, though.
I want to shout out to you guys for having me. I greatly appreciate it. Shout out to all the fans watching, and a special shout out to my best girl, Christy, who's watching tonight. Love you, sweetheart.
Shout out. Hit that like button, Christy. Appreciate you having here. Appreciate the views, man. Robert, it has been fun having you on the podcast, man. Definitely, as we spoke on, this was Robert's kind of introduction. I guess you could call it an interview here for the channel, possibly your next co-host on the channel. So shout out to Robert for even wanting to be a part of DFU, man. It means a lot to me, Philip, and Cody here to have you on the podcast. I want to give a shout out to everybody in the comment section, man. Everybody that tuned in tonight, that left a comment. Before we get out of here, MacTown Dirty, they should not be critical of Michael Pennett's pick now. You are absolutely right, brother. Glad you were here tonight to leave that comment. Hit that like button. If you're watching the show afterwards, man, leave a comment because we always chat it up with the people in the comment section. It's your boys from Dirty Fanatics United, man. I want to give a shout out to all my co-hosts here on the podcast, Cody, Philip, Robert. It has been a great show tonight here with you guys. As always, DFU is up out of here, man. A-Town down, rise up, we out.